to talk about the worst show ever made and the worst ending of all time, and really, discuss how terrible this whole thing ended.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's, are you speaking in Twitter language?
Wasn't this the worst show ever?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, because of one single season, it made it the worst show ever. So that's yeah. Again, are you speaking in Twitter language? Or?
Absolutely. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see.
But, we wanted to really just sort of say goodbye to the series. And also have a patented top 5 to throw into the mix.
Yes. Is it patented, though?
It absolutely is. I checked with the patent office last week.
I knew it was patent pending. I just wasn't sure if it was official yet. All right, cool. Yeah, I appreciate you going down to the office like that and getting that done. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to talk about this. We did our first...
hold on. A patent... Actually, I sort of like the idea of patent pending top 5.
Ooh.
I prefer that now.
I'm going to make some stickers of that, some T-shirts of that. Patent pending top 5. All right, we're just coming up with ideas right on the show here. I love it.
Great ideas.
Yeah, we first got into TV on this show with Game of Thrones. We did our top 5 Game of Thrones characters a few weeks ago, and now we're gonna talk about season 8 as a whole, just what we thought of it, and how it ended and everything. I mean, in the characters episode, we kind of talked about how we like Game of Thrones and everything, and blah blah blah. But this will talk about season 8 a little, how the series as a whole wrapped up, and then we're going to give our top 5 Game of Thrones moments, so that should be fun.
Absolutely. We talked about last time in our top 5 Game of Thrones characters. We were dipping the toe into TV. Now we're maybe going ankle deep here.
Yeah, we're doing. Yeah, we had the toe last time. Now we're ankle deep. I don't know. We're still stuck on the same show, so I don't know if that's takes back a little, but yeah, we're gonna be exploring more TV, folks. So, as you brought up at the beginning of the show, how divisive this final season has been. These last 2 seasons, it seems Twitter has just been in a frenzy over this, and especially the finale, worst finale ever I've been seeing.
Which I think is overblown. I think we can certainly talk about all that as a whole, but I think sort of centered around is that last episode. That's what's fresh in our minds and probably in everyone else's. I'm just sort of thinking, I think you texted me like, what'd you think? And blanket, I said, honestly, I thought it was kind of great. that was my first thought. Now, just sure there are problems with it, but I'm enjoying it. I'm here for the ride. I'm not here to be. It's not saying there aren't critical moments, which we can certainly get into, but I was just happy to be here. I was so glad that this thing was made. I mean, if I could be watching any one thing on that Sunday night, it would have absolutely been this. And there was quite a lot of moments even within that last episode, which were fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first of all, it's so hard to wrap up a series. It's people act like it's like the easiest thing in the world. Like they want everything, that they think should happen to happen. And if it doesn't, it's the worst ever. I've said it before. I hate this mentality of, if something's not a 10, it's a 0, or vice versa. Was it the best finale ever? No. For me, no. But was it the worst? Absolutely not.
I don't even know if. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what is the best finale ever. I don't know. I think at this point you're hoping for some closure, and I think while not everything was tied up together and left alone, I think most of the characters got in a spot that we could understand. Yeah. And that's pretty good for a massive, sprawling story.
Definitely. And I love how it was Stark heavy. It's it's been brought up how George R.R. Martin has said, there's no clear-cut villains and heroes. But the Starks are definitely the protagonists of this whole story. So I'm glad, their stories got wrapped up, and they finally had a happy ending in a way. It was almost too happy for Game of Thrones, but at the same time, that family's been through so much that it's like, I was glad that they finally had their little happy endings.
Yeah, think about. Just to piggyback on everything you just said, I've heard the same criticism. This is a little too happy, but think about where you were in, say, season 3 or season 4.
Right.
It looks like all is lost.
Yeah.
And in the books and in the TV show, it takes you, and we talk about this, it's sometimes about the journey. This is a hell of a journey. And you are behind these people for so long. I mean, how long does it take to finally pay off to this moment? And now you're going to say it's too sweet? No.
Yeah.
I fucking walked through the desert to get to this oasis, and I'm going to enjoy the oasis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the emotional journey this show took you on was just, I mean, it was a lot. So, yeah, I'm glad they did it in this way. And it wasn't totally happy. I mean, technically, John, is a criminal. He had to join the Night's Watch at the end. So I mean, he, had to pay for his crimes, quote unquote.
So, do we want to jump into him, or do you want to dance around a little bit more on some other stuff?
Real quick, I just want to say that. I mean, for the episode or the series or the season or okay,
whatever.
Well, I was just going to say not to go into negatives, but yeah, the whole problem I had with, I guess, this finale and the series as a whole, the season as a whole, and even the last two seasons, just how rushed it is, And I know that's it's being said a lot, but it's not news for me to say that, but. Yeah, it just I wish they had more. I wish both these seasons were 10 episodes like the rest, and to give more time to flesh out certain storylines and characters. I think that's my biggest problem.
It seems to be the most obvious one. I mean, these two past seasons could have been 4 or 5 seasons, really.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, even the last 2 episodes of season 8 could have been a whole season on its own.
I mean, look at the first 3 seasons. Jamie is a prisoner, and he's being dragged along by Brienne for a season and a half. I mean, they built characters in the first few seasons, and now this last 2 seasons just seems like they're trying to just tie loose ends, which is normal for when series come to an end. But
Ned Stark was in King's Landing for 6 episodes, something like that.
Yep. Yeah, I think. He left in the second episode. So yeah,
or so maybe more. So maybe 7 full episodes. Maybe
right.
King's Landing, maybe 1 travel or a half. Anyway, but somewhere around there. Basically, what we saw from Ned going down the King's Road and all his time in King's Landing, based on the how fast the story has moved this season, that would have been 1 episode. He would have arrived and then would have been beheaded in like 40 minutes.
Yeah. They just weren't able to again take their time, and it seemed like they were more worried about providing the spectacle. So they had those 2 huge episodes this season. The Night King one, obviously, the Long Night, I think it was called, and then.
Which I think is looking better now in retrospect.
Yeah.
Some people knocked on that one, and now I'm thinking back, God, that was amazing.
No, it really was. I loved that episode. And then obviously the Bells episode when Dany, becomes the Mad Queen, essentially. Those 2 episodes, it seemed like the showrunners were more worried about having those big spectacle episodes and put their budget towards that rather than paying actors for more episodes to, flesh out character ideas and,
they're like tent poles or whatever.
Right.
They're centering around those 2 major events,
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's my one gripe over the last 2 seasons, just how rushed and everything. But yeah, I mean I don't want to stick on the negatives. I mean, like you said with the Long Night episode, I mean that like me and my wife were audibly like when Arya jumped out of the shadows to kill the Night King, like that was just like I audibly shouted out.
I was cheering, like I was watching a sports game and someone just hit a 3 at the end of a buzzer,
Yeah, seriously, it was Arya's buzzer beater. So yeah, that was,
it really was.
It was awesome, man. So yeah, I mean there were so many great moments in this season, last season. I mean throughout this show, obviously, but so I mean as a whole, this season 8, what do you think?
It's got flaws, but I like it. And I understand it is rushed. So we're dealing with something that's rushed. So you just kind of have to deal with it. I don't know. The most obvious thing I can think of is that it's just impossible to keep this cast and crew together for so long.
Yeah.
It seems to be the clearest thing. I remember years ago, this might have been around season 2 or 3-ish, when D.B. Weiss and Benioff were saying they want to do 10 season, 10 episodes. I can recall reading that.
Right.
Like it's yesterday. and here we go. We gotta just sew this thing up. Maybe the actors can't do it. Maybe the writing. It's just hard to hold this massive thing together.
Definitely.
So
yeah, I mean, you got to look at the production side of it, and understand why they had to do it, why they had to move on. People are saying it's because they have this trilogy coming up for Star Wars. They're going to be involved with that. I think they're writing and directing it, I believe.
Do you know any more details than that? 'Cause
no.
that's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's all under wraps. I think. Yeah, no one knows what.
We don't even know
because there's
a
a
setting on this.
No.
Time period. Nothing.
No, we know when. There's Star Wars films scheduled to be released 2022, 2024, and then 2026.
How about that release on that calendar? It's like
I know.
I don't fucking know.
I know. It's like
so. Yeah, really, this is coming out then.
It's it's non-news. Those big. Yeah, they make it seem like this huge story when it's just non-news. But we don't know any deals on that because Rian Johnson is getting a trilogy and they are getting a trilogy. So I don't know.
A trilogy each.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's 6 movies,
if you hated Benioff and Weiss, what they did to Game of Thrones, you're gonna really hate what they're gonna do to Star Wars.
Oh my goodness! Talk about dividing two fandoms right there. Jeez Louise.
Someone's gonna get like I don't even know where this is gonna go. It's so funny though. Thinking like the angst of the nerd, it almost kind of makes me happy.
But yeah, So people have made that argument, like how they, they were just looking for Star Wars. That's why they shortened the series and everything like that. But it's like whatever.
Next thing we need to hear is now that they're either gonna be in talks to do a Harry Potter or a Lord of the Rings. That'll be the coup de grace.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, what I kind of wanted from this was just just more depth. More depth about the Night King and the White Walkers. I didn't want them just to be this evil just because they're evil. I wanted a little more than that, and I wanted a little more. Even John going to the Night's Watch on the Wall. Like, why do they need a Night's Watch anymore?
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Okay,
let's just. So we've hit on this 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
So John kills Danny. Well, I don't know what you were thinking getting into the end of this, but I couldn't help. I don't know if I mentioned this to you or not, and there is no recording of me saying this, and it doesn't matter. It's just
there's no record.
Episode 1 or 2, I remember saying the way he's going to have to kill her. I couldn't help thinking the way her actions are. It was subtle, but at least I got that from the show.
Yeah,
there's a sense there. He's going to have to do it, and he ended up doing it. And then I started thinking as well, where are these characters going to end up? And one of the possibilities, I didn't know how it was going to happen, but actually what I thought was going to happen with John was more or less what happened with Arya.
Oh,
I didn't think end up at the wall, but I thought it's pretty clear they've been telling us he doesn't want to be king, so that's probably out. So either he dies or he just goes off somewhere. But the way they did it in the show was he was more sentenced.
Right, yeah.
Than him choosing.
Definitely. But I think, that's kind of why they showed him going off with the wildlings. Like, this is my, I think that's him, finally making his own choice and saying, no, this is my true home, the true north, as the wildlings call it. And, it's, I feel like that was fitting for him to finally make his own choice there, even if it's going against duty. Love is the end of duty. I love how they brought up that line again.
What an amazing scene. They're both in tears. They're both devastated for this impossible choice. And what did you think? Did John really, well, of course he had a choice, but was it the right choice?
It seemed like she would have just done the same thing everywhere else.
We're going to go to Winterfell?
Yeah.
What? I'm gonna have a global empire, and everyone's gonna bend to. We're gonna liberate everyone. What, through fire?
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm a little torn with that. Because it almost seemed like she was genuine. It almost seemed like she was just doing King's Landing to Cersei. She knew. I love how they kind of brought up earlier in the season. Just how much, Northerners don't like outsiders they brought up in the first episode.
Yep.
And Danny's noticing how much, the North loves John, and she's never going to have that love of the people that he has, so she has to rule by fear, as she said in the beginning of that Bells episode.
So were we supposed to buy that this was her beginning descent into craziness? I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I don't think it's her beginning. I think they've been hinting at it the whole series,
Yeah, hinting, but we still run into the problem where the logic isn't maybe there, or did you think it was pretty clear? In other words, when the bells rang and she torched everything... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the bells, that episode I wasn't crazy about just because... it mainly had to do with the rush season. It's they made that turn so quick. I understand Jorah died this season and Missandei died, but yeah, I felt it was just it came out of nowhere in a sense. But I know in retrospect that they've been building towards it and everything like that. But I can see how you would have that. I even had that knee jerk reaction that just like, what the hell's going on here? Why is she going crazy all of a sudden? So yeah, I mean, I was a little thrown off by that episode, but yeah, I mean, they, like I said, they've been building it up for seasons.
Sort of like, because that's where it's going, so you're like, okay, well, clearly she's gonna go crazy, but I think actually what made me more mad was the logic of the dragon, because the episode before, the other one died pretty easily,
right,
and then. In the bells, she just goes and just destroys everything, no problem.
Yeah,
what's the deal here, Dan?
Emotionally, that's what threw me off in the episode too. Because when I think it was Rhaegal died in the episode before. And then she was just able to easily fly right to Euron. I guess.
Why didn't you do this last time?
I guess. Yeah, she could have done it right there and then. I guess Rhaegal died just because they didn't know they were there at first. But once you know they're there, you obviously can just take them out.
But why are you? You have an airplane, right? You can
exactly.
It's not like you can't peek around the rock.
Yeah,
really, really high. So
yeah. There's some weird logic, but
that's okay. But it has to make sense internally, and there just made zero sense internally. She destroyed. They had all those scorpions, which were like the episode before, you're led to believe, well, God, there's really no chance that dragon can even do anything now because there's all those. Ballista and scorpions will just shoot him out of the air, so he's kind of rendered invalid.
Right.
Well, what is it now? If I just get angry enough, then I can destroy them? Like, what is the logic
Yeah,
here?
there is no logic. I mean, I was... I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to swallow at some points. I can see the anger of folks at some points too. But again, like you said, it's been about the journey. I mean, it's you're gonna have hiccups here and there. What'd you think of Cersei and Jaime's death?
Jaime's an interesting one. I think this one pisses off fans because he has a seeming redemption arc that never quite happens. Well, no, it does. He does redeem himself, but he has and I remember saying this to you, he has a fatal flaw, and that's his love for Cersei. We want him to be with Brienne and be safe and not do that, but he's going to. So to me, I don't have a problem with his character. Cersei deserves to be tortured and have her eyeballs plucked out. And
the death, I mean, certainly was poetic. I mean, he said in earlier seasons he wants to die in the arms of the woman he loves, and which he essentially did. But yeah, I just felt like the death was kind of anticlimactic in a way, especially for Cersei. Again, we barely saw Cersei at all this season, and then we finally see her again this episode, and it's she just gets rubbled to death. Is that a saying? Rubbled to death. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, I did too, but and it's not that I want to see her suffering, because we got that already. We got her, the shame, the walk of shame, and everything,
Well, I had a thought my thought is that she escapes, and then Arya. I always have these Arya faceless man fantasies, and one of them was Cersei on the boat.
Yeah, there's so many other things they could have done. I mean, my thought was always that Jaime would die, and we didn't know it. and then Jaime kills Cersei, and then it's revealed to be Arya. I had that thought, seasons ago. But they're showing Tyrion, when he unburies them and sees them dead there, and then like you see like behind him there's like no bricks or anything, and they're saying like, so you're telling me if they stood 10 feet to the right they would have been fine. So it's like, yeah, that's a little weird, but. So,
well,
but yeah,
a little nitpicky though.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't totally satisfied by their death. But it is what it is. I knew they had to die. They were gonna die. But I don't know. I was unsatisfied, I guess. But so I mean, so do you think this wraps up 8 seasons well? I mean, do you think they did a good job there? Would you have liked to see, well, first of all, let me ask you this: would you have liked to see more depth about the Night King and the White Walkers and everything?
A little bit, but since I don't know anything, and we weren't given any information that like, do they talk? I don't know. Is it just a symbol for death? Maybe there's nothing else there. I don't know. I mean, if there is more there, maybe, but I'm not sure what I would want from it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, essentially Sauron from Lord of the Rings is just an evil entity. He doesn't really have motivation other than to be evil, and no one complains about that. So.
Yeah, that's true, but I guess, well, they do give you more information that he was something else that is transformed and is now reappearing as just an evil bending you to his will.
I'm only halfway through Two Towers. So
how are you
don't
liking
spoil
it so far?
For me. I love it. I don't love it. I don't want to say I love. I enjoy it.
Okay, you don't want to go too far here.
Yeah, I don't want to use the L word yet, but yeah, it's good.
You guys are just dating.
Yeah, we're just dating right now.
Meeting up at Panera.
Yeah. A couple lunch dates here and there. Nothing too serious yet.
What do you think about Arya?
I wish she had more to do.
She kills the Night King and then does nothing.
Yeah. Especially because they built it up the episode before. That she's seeing all this death, and you're like, okay, she's going to be the one that kills Dany. And then she's walking up the steps in the season finale and stuff, and then just stands next to Jon. It's like, oh, okay, that was for nothing. So yeah, I wish she had a little more to do. I mean, it almost seemed like they were building up this Westeros, what's west of Westeros thing, and as a spin-off, but it seems like that's not going to happen, because that wouldn't make much sense to do a spin-off off of that, because she's part of the main story, Right. I mean, yeah.
I think what I would have liked better if they were going there, which they were. I want her to get her moment with Sandor Clegane earlier, maybe on the King's Road,
right?
Instead of in King's Landing with all.
Well,
that nonsense.
they had 1,000 miles to to at least talk, and
Yeah, maybe there's a scene along the way where he's like, "You don't want to do this. Get out of here. It's going to ruin you. Look what happened to me." Basically, almost what he said to her, but maybe with more depth, because they've had some amazing scenes together.
Yeah, not right when they get there, and they're about to get to Cersei. He's like, "Oh no, go away."
What were you guys doing the whole time? Just not talking for 1,000 miles, right? I mean, what? That could have been a nice interspersed, scenes as they used to do as these two characters are moving along. And they eventually, it could be like 3 or 4 scenes spread out over a few episodes. Of course, we're talking in a totally different time span here, where then she decides to go west, and she never makes it to King's Landing. She just takes off. And that's what we see. As all this chaos is unfolding, she's on a boat going somewhere.
Yeah, that would have been way more fitting. Yeah. Oh, damn it. You just you ruined it. No, you didn't ruin it. But I did love the moment when he tells her to go away, and then she looks back and says Sandor.
It was great.
Calls him by her name. So it's a great moment.
But she had no reason to be there later, and then just takes off. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. You're right. But yeah. I mean, overall, was this it certainly wasn't the best season, but it's certainly not as bad as everyone's saying.
Oh.
Certainly not the worst finale ever. Go ahead.
Bronn, I laughed at the idea that he's going to be the freaking ruler of Highgarden.
He's the master of coin.
To me, this is probably the worst scene of the episode. I don't think this is controversial.
Of when they're sitting at the
small council. Yeah. I like Bronn, but this guy is not I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's not responsible with money, if I may.
Yeah, the
not
guy's just good at killing. So what? We're
Right.
going to give him control of the money in the wealthiest region in the Six Kingdoms.
Yeah, at least make him master of war or whatever it's called. Like,
What's the point
master
here?
of coin? Littlefinger was master of coin, and he was like a politics genius. You
Right.
know, yeah, that didn't sit well with me either. But I did enjoy that scene just because
Okay.
it just showed them just talking about boring politics after Bran left, and that's essentially what it was before the War of the Five Kings. Before Robert died and everything. Like that's if they're not in war, like that's the boring meetings they have. So I kind of appreciated that.
Well, since you mentioned it, let's just get into Bran then. Bran the Broken is the king.
Yeah, my initial theory was that they still maybe I don't know in spin-offs could play it off, but my theory was that the three-eyed raven was going to be the villain the entire time.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, they didn't do anything.
Well, we don't
with
know,
that.
I guess, right?
Yeah.
He used to fill it.
There's another meme I saw. It said with Tyrion saying, "Who has better story than the memory of the world," or whatever he said about Bran.
Yeah.
And then it showed like every character's picture underneath, like
I mean, Jon
everyone.
Snow, the most obvious, right?
Yeah. So Jamie, yeah, just
Any
everyone?
of them, yeah. Sansa, Arya, like, yeah.
But yeah.
So this is a fundamental problem with Bran, I think, and maybe the most fundamental is that he's a difficult character in the books, but an almost impossible character to put on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't read all the books, so I
What is this guy? And they never really explain I mean, you see his flashbacks, but he hints about knowing things in the future, but they don't really quite explain it.
yeah, they don't show that. Yeah,
It is like, I'm going to go now, or I'm not Bran. I don't want anything.
yeah,
And then-
like where was he during the whole Night King battle? Like he just warged and didn't even say what he was going to do.
He was flying
And
those
now-
ravens around
Yeah.
doing what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now Drogon's flying off somewhere. I'm gonna go check out to see what he's doing. Okay, do what you got to do. And how does a dragon know what an Iron Throne is?
In terms of getting mad and melting it? I don't know. Probably
I mean,
not much.
I get the metaphor and the symbolism.
Yeah,
that,
it's nothing
that's
more
what
than
killed. That's what killed his mother, and that's what he's killing. But come on, let's be real here. I actually loved the first half of this episode, but then the next half just I don't know. It was rushed and how do we want to do this? Let's take a vote. Oh no, we're not going to do a vote. And then I mean Tyrion Peter Dinklage in this episode was freaking amazing.
Probably his best performance ever.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, his great in that scene, as we mentioned, with him and John was fantastic. And then that one scene where he walks up to Dany as she's giving her fire and blood speech about conquering the world.
Right.
And she's like, I don't know, you're treasonous, or you disobeyed me, or whatever. It's like, yeah, I let my brother free. And you burned a city.
Right. Yeah.
God, I got so much here. I got some notes here. The Jon and Ned parallel. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. So, if you remember all the way back to season 1, Ned Stark, of course, lies about overthrowing. Joffrey confesses in the sort of handshake agreement that if he does so, he'll be sent to the Night's Watch. But instead, Joffrey beheads him.
Right.
Now, in this, Jon essentially, in a lot of ways, Jon takes the place of Ned in this story.
Yeah, the parallel I got was when Varys is talking to Ned when he's in the prisons, and he's like,
Yes.
Ned's saying I'm not scared to die. Are you kidding me? And then he's like, yeah, but would you do it to save your daughter's lives?
Yep.
And that's what Tyrion says to Jon. Would you do it to save your sister's lives?
Absolutely. Definitely parallel here. They're very much, that love you had for Ned essentially gets transplanted onto Jon.
Yeah, that's why I love the first half of this episode too, because I mean this is still in the first half of the episode, and that's when Jon says Tyrion brings up how Daenerys is fire and blood, and then Jon says we're not born with our house mottos or sigils or whatever. Like
that was a great point.
And it's true. I mean, look at Jon.
I'm a Targaryen. I'm not an asshole.
Right. He's a Targaryen, but I mean, he was raised by the most honorable man in Westeros, Ned Stark. And so I mean this season obviously plays about plays on nature versus nurture and everything, and you definitely get the nurture part in Jon Snow.
Yep. You do have choice, but what I really liked and appreciated, it took me a while to think about it, is because we knock Dany so much for her maniacal ways, but the world that is left after her, and maybe she just had to do this thing and die, but the world that Ned Stark lived in, he wasn't allowed to go to the Night's Watch. But by the time Dany does whatever she does, it's changed to the point where they're not going to behead Jon. So they have progressed a little bit. Things have changed. There is no tyrant left, and maybe it is a hope for better things in the future. Definitely.
No, yeah, that's a great point. I mean, Dany, she did, build a better world. I mean, even in Essos, she freed slaves, and everything like that. So, I mean, she left a better world than she was born into. So, yeah, good point. And they never brought Daario back. I thought they were going to bring Daario back, but they never did.
Oh, I got another thought. Okay, so you have Dany and the Unsullied, and then you have the Night King and the zombies. And is Dany the human version of the Night King in the sense where she has basically a zombie army at her command? I mean, the Unsullied do what they don't. They're not really independent thinkers or anything like that.
I like that thought. That's very interesting. Yeah, because they were freed by her and everything. But yeah, I mean, she essentially.
What choices do they really have in the end?
No, definitely. I mean, especially when they see that she kills anyone who goes against her anyways. So,
right. What are they going to do? Are they going to go, have a house? And, they're not going to get a wife, right? So, what are your real choices in the world? I think the Dothraki would be a stretch there because they do have a way of life and a way of
doing things, they take more convincing, and I think they're definitely more free than the Unsullied. When you have a penis, you just
changes everything.
You have different thoughts.
Oh god!
But I don't know. I kind of want to get into the moments.
So do you want to do a show or?
Yeah, let's do a show.
Is this another episode? What is
no,
this?
Let's just. I think we can blow through these moments. Okay. Especially me. I mean,
I will too. Yeah, let's not dwell on it.
Well, exactly. So, our top 5
I don't
moments
keep you.
in Game of Thrones history. No, I mean you're not keeping me. Do you want me to start?
I would love for you to start.
All right, let's just create another conversation. All right, my number 5 is Battle of the Bastards with where Jon Snow is basically it's right after Rickon dies from Ramsay's bow.
I thought it was Dickon. Yeah. That was Sam's brother.
Yeah. Good one, man.
Thanks.
Battle of the Bastards. Yeah, I mean that moment when Jon Snow is just ready to take that whole army on. He's like, all right, this is it. I'm standing right in front. It's such a great shot of him with all the horses marching towards him with the sword.
How many times has he been prepared to die in this series?
A lot.
10?
Yeah.
I mean, just willingly ready to lay that thing down for what I'm going to do, and that's it. Love it.
It's such an iconic scene now. Just him, the horses marching towards him with his the camera facing his back and with his sword out. It's like, what are you going to do? But he's willing to do that. That's what I love about Jon Snow.
Great.
So that's my number 5.
All right, my number 5 is one that happens every single episode. My top 5 favorite moments is the opening credits.
Oh, look at you going against the grain.
It wasn't the cold open of season 1 that actually drew me in. It was the title credits with the sort of the eye looking down on a moving map with the magnifying lenses showing me everything. I mean, I'm a map guy, so I got a weakness for that. Well, it just showed me a whole world that I just love every single time. I mean, I watch these. I'm like, oh, I remember every new episode. Where are they going this episode? And it'll go to like Pike, or it'll go to Dragonstone, or the twins or something like that. I love that.
It's a clever thing to do, to show you where we're going this episode, but also it's a clever thing to do for like people obviously who didn't read the books and things, like for new viewers to like know, like, okay, when they talk about King's Landing, where the hell is that? When they talk about Winterfell, where is that? It's just such a unique way to show the audience, okay, this is the world we're dealing with.
Yeah.
This is Essos over here where Dany is. It's just amazing. Yeah, no, that's a good call. Look at you, Mr. Creative.
Love it so much.
And what did you think of this season's though? This season was in particularly different.
Oh, it gave me goosebumps. We got the broken wall and like the blue, which is sort of showing the advance of the Night King and his army,
which essentially meant nothing.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
that's great though.
Yeah. I love it. And we saw Last Hearth, which we hadn't seen before, in more detail in Winterfell.
Yeah,
and then
that was
down
cool.
into the crypts, and then into that in King's Landing. I was blown away by this season opening credits. I love these opening credits. So
yeah, good call, man. I love that. Again, very creative.
Thank you so
Just
much.
like the opening credits. So that was your number 5. My number 4 is Dany selling one of her dragons.
Oh.
And then, they're at, is it Astapor, I think it is? She's trying to buy an army, the Unsullied. She says she can buy it she'll sell him this dragon. Jorah and Barristan, Sir Barristan are both like, don't do it. And she's like, please don't speak against me again. And then an episode or two later, you find out that she can speak Valyrian this whole time. So this king that's been insulting her this whole time, or
calling a whore or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And then she sells, quote unquote, sells the dragon to him. And that's, I don't know if this is the first time I don't know. But anyway, she basically says, Dracarys after she, sells it to him and burns him alive. And then that's when she, gets the Unsullied and everything. I don't know. I just thought this was a great moment for Dany and great moment overall in the show. It just shows just like, it kind of blew me away, it just shows, kind of the twist, you're like, what, she's gonna sell one of her dragons? Like, what's going on? And then she's just like, nope, Dracarys.
Fantastic. Great
I thought that was a great moment.
It sort of showed that she's for real and she's serious, and maybe it was one of the things we were talking about earlier, which is one of these little hints, not that it was. Well, she does just sort of roast them because she could. Not that, we talk about maybe the morality of it because they're slavers and all that, but still, I mean, that takes some kind of ovaries to do that.
Wow.
Oh, them balls. I don't know where to go there.
That was great. I just love the confidence she had, when she's telling Jorah, like,
back off.
Yeah, like, not trust me, but just like, don't.
This is my deal.
It. Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was a great moment. I just wanted to include that in here just because, I think that was one of my favorite moments of the show, one of the biggest surprises for me because, again, I wasn't a book reader or anything. So,
great stuff there. Now, just to take a second here on Dany. Now, maybe could she have survived if they killed Drogon?
Ooh,
would that have been maybe kill the dragon? Because without the dragon, she's not quite the menace,
Right? Yeah. I mean, she's she has dragons. I don't know, man. That's a good point. I don't know. I think the dragons represent a belief. So I mean, people believe in her, but I guess I don't know. If a guy has a machine gun at my house, I'm going to believe in him too.
Yeah. You just can't. So you just can't take away the machine gun, and the guy's okay. You got to kind of get rid of the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Makes sense.
Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
You literally just made that argument. Okay.
Anywho, that's my number 4.
My number 3.
No, you're number 4.
I'm sorry. My number 4 is Arya killing Walder Frey.
That's on my short list. Great. Oh, yes.
Oh, the last thing you're going to see is a Stark smiling upon you as you die.
That's great. I love it because he's like asking where his sons are, and she's like, "They're right here." And he's like, What do you mean?
It's great because in the books you keep hearing about Frey pie, and then we finally see it in the TV
Really?
series. Yeah, you get that finger.
Oh man,
He's like,
that's a great call. Yeah, again, that was on my short list. When we came up with this topic, I told you like 2 minutes later. All right, I already got 10. That was one of my 10. So
great.
Yeah, good call.
All right, what do you got next, buddy?
My number 3 is an episode called Winds of Winter. It's the beginning of this episode. It's when Cersei blows up the Sept.
Oh, man.
This episode beginning might be one of the greatest moments in television history. Just the
Yes.
I think it's the greatest score in television history. Just the slow piano music. I think this is the first time I read that they used piano in the score.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And just that slow build up to what's going on. Like Cersei's supposed to go to trial, and it's like, oh, she's not going. What's she's getting dressed. What's happening?
Yeah, Marjorie figures it out. Like, we gotta get out of here. And then they won't let anybody leave. Oh man, very tense.
Amazing build up, and then like they got what's his name? Her cousin is like crawling towards towards the Lancel, thank you, is crawling towards the candle, and he realizes it's, basically he's trying to blow it out and everything. But yeah, just such a great build up. That's where we get the death of Grandmeister Pycelle and everything by the little birds, which we find out finally are little children.
Yeah.
Just such a great moment. And then because you don't expect all those characters to die right then. The High Sparrow, Marjorie, Lancel,
Kevin Lannister,
Marjorie's brother,
almost all the Tyrell, Mace Tyrell. I mean, a whole host of nobles just gets torched.
Yeah, it's like you don't see that coming. So number 3, Cersei blows up the Sept. It's just an amazing moment, amazing score, just such a great build up.
And then Tommen's walk off.
Yeah, and that's used so much now in Twitter. That GIF, just like me, how I felt after this. Just walking off.
I mean, I feel bad because Joffrey was a little piece of garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tommen was a good person, man.
And so was Marcella. The other 2 kids weren't bad.
Right. Yeah.
Cersei's terrible. I mean, there really is no.
You think so?
I mean, people. Yes, I do. But you see arguments here, and I remember this when I used to be book reader forum guy, being like, she was mistreated by Robert, and she loves her kids, and she's a woman trying to make it in a man's world, and all this nonsensical justification, and she is just horrible.
No,
it does
definitely
not stand up for me one bit. No argument makes it for me.
I mean, you see it in the way she treats Tyrion. I mean, I think that's kind of sums her up right there.
She's malicious.
Yeah, definitely. That's my number 3. What you got for number 3?
Well, it's a perfect transition because this is the first instance of wildfire, which is the wildfire explosion on Blackwater.
Again, on my short list, but great choice. Wow, we haven't had any overlap yet.
Not yet. I love this. I mean, this sort of cemented this TV show as almost like Blockbuster. Hey, Blockbuster TV in a sense. I think
definitely.
this, more than anything, I think this episode cemented the show as a phenomenon. And this moment, maybe in particular.
Yeah, I mean, you got that whole episode. I mean, you got the great speech from Tyrion. Like, let's go kill them.
Yeah.
Love that
the
moment
chain
with him. And the what?
The chain. Trapping the boats. I mean, I remember reading about this. I remember the books where it was like, there's a chain and the chain. And he kept talking about a chain. You didn't know what the fuck the chain was going to do. And then, we split the naval forces or wherever, and then we trapped them, and then we sort of set up to kill the ones on the outside and then torch the ones on the inside. What a freaking great plan.
and just the visuals of that, the whole
Amazing.
explosion, the green fire and everything, so great. Yeah, I've always loved Blackwater. That's been one of my favorite episodes forever. Almost had this on my list. Yeah, great moment. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, two instances of wildfire in number 3. So my number 2 is the moment of it's Tyrion's trial.
Oh, great.
When Tyrion, basically is fed up with it. He has Shay is going to give her testimony. Is that what they called it in this? I know they don't say testimony in the show, but
Was it maybe a deposition?
yeah.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and that's when he's just like, he's had it. Like the woman he actually loves, is like totally breaking his heart right now. And then he's like, I did not kill Joffrey, but I wish that I had. The only crime I'm, guilty for is being a dwarf. He's going off on his, it's basically all this built up stuff he's had, about his father. He got no recognition again for that Blackwater war, that Blackwater battle. He got absolutely no recognition.
Oh, he was put into that little room.
Yeah.
Stripped of his title.
Yep.
Because they tried to kill him. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, they did try to kill him. Cersei tried to have him killed, or Joffrey did.
What a fucking bitch. God
damn it. But yeah, Tyrion's trial, the end of it when he's just like, I wish that I wish I had poison for everyone in this room. And just, I will not let, you decide my fate. I will let the gods decide my fate. I demand trial by combat. That's so, just
great.
So epic. I just love that scene. And
that whole subplot with Oberyn Tyrell.
Oberyn, my boy. Oberyn
Martell, sorry.
Yeah, Oberyn and the Mountain, that was on my side list too. That whole trial by combat scene was in my short list, but
it's too painful for me to relive, honestly.
Yeah, it's rough, but yeah, I mean that kind of ties into the Tyrion's trial. So
yeah, that's got to be. Was that all in one episode? Because
no. So it was that episode, and then I think the next episode, or the episode after, was Oberyn talking to him in the jail cells, saying at the end of that episode was, "I will be your champion." Yeah. That was a great moment. And then the next episode after that was the actual.
Another great moment.
I know, so great. That all ties in. Yep. So yeah, that's my number 2, Tyrion's trial.
Actually, my number 2 is hold the door. Hold the door.
Yep.
Hold the door.
Yep.
This one made me cry.
Yeah, it's a powerful moment. And again, I thought they were going to go more into the Three-Eyed Raven and how he can change, the paradox of how going back into the past can change the future.
Nope. Just accept it.
Sorry. Anyways, go ahead.
He goes back into the kid's mind, ruins his mind, and then he grows up to be, I don't know. It doesn't matter, I guess, right? But still, I mean, this poor, I almost look at him like an innocent animal in a sense, Hodor, where you're.
Yeah.
I just feel, but his whole life was basically, well, now I'm getting mad
predestined
at
in a
Bran
way.
in the sense, but the fact that he does sort of, he decides on his own. He's not warged, and he does take care of Bran, and he has that moment of heroism on his own, and then of course, loses it. And I found this deeply emotional, and I was crying at the end of this episode.
Yeah,
it's just it's tragedy.
Yeah,
and I don't think Bran did it intentionally, but
Oh no, he definitely didn't. Yeah, I mean, he tried. Just a lot was going on, and then he tried to warg into the Hodor in the past, and it just messed with his mind, and
he reached back and affected things as he was warned not to, and then he did, but then sort of semi makes it right. But he loved and respected Hodor, so it wasn't like he was.
Yeah, I mean, Hodor was his protector for seasons. It's it's a great moment. I'm glad you have it on there. I think it was season 6. same as Battle of the Bastards. What a great season 6 was. I mean, I don't know why people. I know because it went past the books. It seems like that's when people started like, oh, it's past the books. It's like I don't give a shit. Like, I watch comic book movies all the time without reading the comics, and even if I have read the comics, like if it goes away, it doesn't mean it's a bad movie or show. Like, shut the hell up. I've never understood the critique of, oh, it's not like the book or it's not like the comic. I especially don't understand the show is now past the books, so I cannot like it because they do not no longer have the writer. Well, that's not their fault. Like, that's not a valid critique. I'm sorry.
You watch it as a TV show the way you would watch.
Right. Anywho.
You got the number 2?
My number 2 is Tyrion's trial. What was your number 2? Oh, yeah, Hodor.
I did Hold the Door.
My number 1, it might be a surprise that this is just one of the best acting scenes in Game of Thrones history for me, and just one that just always stuck out in my mind. And that's Jaime in the hot tub with Brienne when he's telling her about how he killed the Mad King. Something about this scene, man. I don't know. It just
it's not just you.
Yeah, it's just a great acting there, and it's just this is where you finally see the not turn of Jaime. You just finally see the real Jaime. You understand Jaime finally. What would you have done? And just the way Nikolai, I suck at his name. Yes, thank you. He just delivers, these lines just so amazingly. Because he's weak from his hand being cut off, and that was something I didn't see coming a few episodes before, was his hand being chopped off. And then, like, what he goes through, and just the moment he has with Brienne in that hot tub, just I don't know, it just paints a picture, and you finally understand who he is, and why he did what he did. Just in a scene that is most stuck out to me, and moment that's most stuck out to me over the course of 8 seasons.
Fantastic. And interesting about that, as you mentioned about losing his hand, is crazy. And we mentioned in the last episode of how that was basically crucial to his character. If he didn't lose his hand, he couldn't have developed as a human being. His first instinct was always to draw his sword and kill, and he could no longer do that. So he had to think his way through life the first time ever.
Yeah.
It made him contemplate his existence rather than just going for the easy kill.
Right. Yeah. Now, I mean, do you think that's why he became a good person, just because he got his hand chopped off?
That's how I read it in the books.
Oh, okay, in the books, okay. Oh,
and I don't know if that's as clear on the TV show, but at least that's. I mean, maybe not even just in the books, but that's how I've always read it.
Okay,
is that the hand was? He had to lose the hand to progress.
Yeah, I mean, it humbled him, and he realized.
So what if he didn't?
Yeah,
I mean, could you imagine him without his golden hand that couldn't fight?
Right. Yeah. So
what would he do? would he do anything for Brienne? Would he do anything for anyone?
Right.
Really?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but I don't know, because TV show wise, you get glimpses of him being good, because he even says, like, he makes up this story about Brienne and saying how she comes from Tarth, which is, has these gems or rubies or something underneath them. So he tries to save her before he loses her hand. He doesn't want her defiled and things. So I think he showed that goodness.
He does make his promise to Catelyn before that too. I don't know that he could have found his potential without that handicap, basically.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true.
My number 1 is probably the most obvious, and it's Ned's head.
Yeah. I mean, I left that off and the Red Wedding off just because I wanted to talk about these other moments. But yeah, Ned's beheading. Good God.
From this moment on, my sense of morality and justice and what I want to happen through this saga starts from this moment.
Yeah.
When he dies and he's beheaded, I'm like, God damn it, there must be justice. And I'm never going to be tired until I get it.
And you go back to that moment, and that's why, I'm kind of glad the Starks had the ending they did in season 8 because, look at everything they went through. They couldn't catch a freaking break, with the Boltons, with Sansa when she was married Ramsay Bolton, it's just, they couldn't catch a break. Yeah, I mean, this is the moment in the show when it's just like, okay, no one's safe. This is...
and this is where you choose sides.
Yeah, you definitely choose sides. Absolutely.
From here on out, you're a Stark guy.
Yeah.
Or you're a crazy weirdo who likes Cersei. I don't know which, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I don't buy that. There's no clear-cut villains and protagonists. Like, obviously the Starks. It's the Starks versus Lannisters, and the Starks are the good guys. I mean,
right.
but I guess they bring up that dilemma when Jaime turns good. You got Tyrion who's good. And they're both Lannisters.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not entirely family versus family. It's certain people in families versus certain people in families, but...
Exactly, and it's not like the Starks are all good. I mean, Arya's obviously not. Sansa even has her kind of dark streaks, and
right.
We're not really clear on Bran totally.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to rewatch the show, trying to imagine that the Lannisters are the good guys and the Starks are the bad guys. I kind of want to watch it in that way, just to see how that would feel.
It's basically impossible to do though.
I know.
The Ned beheading because you. I mean, that essentially is the moral pivot of the whole series.
No, he was treasonous against the king. I mean, he should not have said he was, he was inbred,
You think about this. God, now I want to just keep talking.
Keep doing it.
This idea of stupidity, we heard this, I think you probably heard this on Twitter this season about how stupid Jon is, how stupid Tyrion is, advising Dany failure after failure. Ned was stupid in season 1 because, whatever his plans were, partially betrayed by Sansa, who he's like, we're leaving, and then she goes and tells Cersei that we're leaving, which tips him off. But, think about Ned's predicament. He goes down there, and then Robert dies. What are the chances he's going to die in a hunting accident?
By a wild boar. Yeah, people are just confusing stupidity with honor. I mean, there is an honor to just keeping true. I mean, just look at the example Ned set for his kids, being honorable to the end.
Right, so he's so stupid, but yet he raised all these people who grow up to, in the end, basically rule the world.
Right, yeah. So I mean, I think
that's how stupid he was.
Yeah. Right. Come on, stupid. Give me a break. People, I mean, if stupid, I don't know. Like Ned says, you think my life is worth, I learned how to die a long time ago. You think my life is worth, I forget exactly what he says, but it's great dialogue there. But yeah.
It's a fantasy. There's a crazy confluence of events that happens that push these things forward, and we analyze it like it's real life, and I think that gets a little bit weird.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I think one of the biggest moments of the show was the Red Wedding, and I purposely didn't put that on mine just because I know that's the biggest moment of the show. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Probably the most famous moment of the show. Most shocking. One, reading the book where I threw the book. I threw the book across the room.
Does it happen at the end of the book?
Somewhere in the middle of book 3.
Jeez. Man, that's rough.
And there's that scene in the show. There's the red. I don't know where this exactly happens, but it's the one I think where Arya because she's on her way to meet Robb.
Yeah, she's the Hound is taking her there to get his payment.
That one where they sew the head, the wolf's head on his body.
Ugh.
That's vomit material for me.
Definitely. Do they describe that in the books?
Yeah, it's just sucks.
Ugh.
The interesting thing about Catelyn is she kind of comes back as a zombie.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Lady
books.
Stoneheart is
exactly. Yeah, she goes around killing Freys.
That's awesome.
With I think with the Brotherhood Without Banners, like Barracks and Thoros' group, I think. So, but she doesn't appear in the show, which I don't think that would have been kind of awesome to see her show up.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Even for partial, just little 2 minutes here and there sprinkled throughout.
I mean, especially because they brought up the mythology of zombie-like creatures with the Night King bringing up the dead and stuff. So,
do you have any honorables on this?
I mean, a lot of my honorables were what yours were.
Okay.
Ned beheading, Red wedding, which is essentially number one. I just didn't want to put it on. Hold the door.
How about Joffrey's death?
Joffrey's. Oh, that I didn't have that, but yeah, I mean that's definitely a huge moment.
Now that was one. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, no, that's I get the popcorn out for it now when I rewatch it. So
I mean, he was about as bad as it gets as far as villains go. Right?
I mean, him or Ramsay, who's worse?
It's Ramsay's like almost over the top unrealistic. I think Joffrey I can more see.
Ramsay made it to the books, right?
He did.
Yeah.
But honestly, I skipped over the Ramsay parts in the books because I just could not handle it. I'm like,
really?
I don't know what I'm reading. It was worse than the TV show. I mean, like, I don't want to read this. I don't want to have. This is torture porn. Literally torture porn.
Yeah.
I don't have any interest in it.
Interesting.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't know how you felt about what. Even on TV, I'm like, this is sick.
Yeah, and the actor they chose for him, like, he just has that face. Where it's just like, look. Get away from me.
But to me, I think even despite all that, me being uncomfortable with it is I really do feel it's just unrealistic. It's so sadistic and over, But I can see a king going wrong and doing the things Joffrey did. That seems more real to me.
Right, definitely.
The other things I had Stannis saving the Night's Watch at the wall.
Yeah, that was great.
And then Jon and Ygritte's moment.
Great. In the cave.
I just want to be here.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
And maybe that goes all the way forward to the end, which is Jon's looking for that cave.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, good call. I mean, yeah, he's definitely looking for that. I mean, it's why are we leaving these places? Let's just stay in one place, We don't have to move around. Yeah, and that's why he's going north, Maybe he's going back to that cave. I just need to stay in this cave again. So
find a girl that's been kissed by fire.
Yep.
And just make a life. There's nothing wrong with that.
And it's funny because that cave scene is the same episode as my number one, the Jamie in the tub scene.
Oh, was it?
Yep, kissed by fire. Yep.
Now that's interesting because they go into like hot spring bath.
Right.
And then that's like forging a love between both.
Right.
They both end badly. Well, that's Game of Thrones.
That's Game of Thrones for you. By the way, I love the moment in the season finale of Brienne writing in Jaime's history in his Kingsguard book. I thought that was great. Died protecting his queen.
Promise. Last thing I want to mention is the spin-off series.
I don't believe
which is coming out. You don't. You should. The spin-off series starring Naomi Watts.
Oh yeah, that's right. She is in it. So I mean, obviously, I think people have said, assume she's going to be a Targaryen. I don't know.
Well, we don't know.
Or a Lannister.
Or maybe none. This thing is
true too.
This thing is codenamed the Blood Moon.
Oh, that's the one she's in? Because I saw that. Yeah.
Interesting thing about that is that now in the books, the term moon blood refers to a woman's period.
Ooh.
So flipping that around.
What about because it's called Age of Heroes too, like Blood Moon Age of Heroes.
Right. Well, we don't know the official title, but let's see. So HBO, I actually have this up. If you don't mind if I read for a second. This says HBO has revealed that it will tell of the world's descent from the golden age of heroes into its darkest hour. And only one thing is for sure. From the horrifying secrets of Westeros history to the true origin of the White Walkers, the mystery, it's not the story we think we know. So it's sort of the beginning of... So maybe all the problems we had with the Night King and the White Walkers will be answered here.
Yeah.
And this will take place... so it's the end of the Age of Heroes, and this thing's going to be about 10,000 years before the events of the show.
Wow.
So see what happens.
I know.
This could be airing within a year or two.
Wow.
So I think we might have our site...
I didn't realize that was the Naomi Watts one, so good stuff.
Well, did you have any... different ones? I think that's the only... That one...
Well, I thought there was one called like The Long Night or something. I thought there was one going to be about The Long Night. I don't know.
Maybe that's this one. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it could be.
This one's in production now.
Dave, can we end the show now?
We can't.
That's my words. So yeah, that's Game of Thrones. I mean, for top 5, I mean, we went on and on, but yeah, I mean, it's 8. I mean, almost 10 years of our lives, that this show took up. So yeah, we wanted to talk about it and appreciate you all sticking around for it. Dave, where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me and talk to me about Game of Thrones at Dave_Quist.
I am at BC Find our podcast at Blockbuster Cast.
Yes.
And find our merchandise on TeePublic. Get some stickers. All right, folks. Well, that is it for us. For Dave, I'm Ben. And as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys
At the flat screen?